poor themed like ready picture. So
No, fair play. Well, we're recording now anyway, so yeah, so we were just having a conversation on Skype about price of DVDs and so on, and comparing it to like your films nowadays on 4K. Because I think I was just saying now, like I bought Venom for £20 because I waited a little bit and found it second hand in CEX for £20, and I consider that a good deal because otherwise it's £25, which is a lot to pay for a film. But if we go back like nearly 20 years ago, I was paying that same price for DVDs because they were considered premium product.
it's funny how like seriously things do come down as they like get more common.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess part of it is like the technology behind it just becomes cheaper to do, but also just like the availability of it.
Yeah, because I can understand like tapes being quite expensive because they were quite expensive back in the day, but they weren't really a premium product like DVDs because there wasn't really anything to compare them to. I mean, obviously, Betamax and VHS, but we won't go into that. When DVDs came out, they were a premium product. I remember for a good couple of years. I think they came out around 98 in the UK. Some films I remember coming out. There were some Warner Brothers ones. I seem to remember it was films like Enemy of the State. I remember seeing that and Lethal Weapon 4. So this was 98. And then they started re-releasing films like Ghostbusters and The Thing. And then The Matrix came out. This was in like 99.
Well, I remember what was the first thing you ever had was Out of Sight, wasn't it?
Yeah, so like a few films, that was a recently released film as well. And I got
Well,
on
I know it
board.
was like game changing, like how quick they'd bring them out as well. Sorry, interrupting you there.
Yeah, well, no, that's a fair point. Yeah, I seem to remember because I got my first DVD player Boxing Day '99, and at the time there wasn't a huge amount of choice, but it was getting there, and they were releasing a lot of stuff as well. Not just new films, but like back catalogs of like old films. And you were paying a lot of money as well. Like I said, I used the example we're talking about with Men in Black. I remember that got released around about. I seem to remember it being late 2000, and it was just the first film. The second film hadn't even been released at that point, and it was a two-disc special edition for £25, and I paid that. And whereas nowadays, I consider £25 to be a lot for a film brand new in 4K. I guess I had like no common sense at the time and nothing really else to spend my money on. How old would I have been? About 19, something like that. I lived with my parents, so I wasn't like exactly needing to, pay a huge amount of
Yeah,
out.
but then again, that was also the price you paid back then. That wasn't anything unusual.
Mm.
I
And it
mean,
was,
now we think like bloody hell, that's pricey, but that's because we're used to it being a lot cheaper. At the time, it was like, well, that's just the price. That's how much these things are.
yeah. Well, like I say, it depends like what else there is out there and whether it's considered a premium product. I mean, today, I keep using that phrase, but that's what it comes down to, really. And we were saying before about TV box sets. That's mental. Just Jesus Christ, how much we paid. Give your example, and I'll give mine. What were you saying? Farscape or something?
Well, just before we start on DVD box sets, one example I was just bringing up to you was I can remember going into WH Smith's. This would probably be tail end of the 90s or something. I can't remember the exact like time frame, but I can remember like a 2 for 1 offer on DVDs or PlayStation 3 games, and these were brand new PlayStation 3 games, PlayStation
PS2.
2 games that
PS2, you
just
mean?
come out, PS2, and they were like considered comparable in price and like value.
I don't know. You got cut off there because my phone started ringing. Sorry, start again.
Damn it!
Yeah, so it was yes, PS2 games. What was
Yeah,
the
were
deal?
considered like comparable to essentially like DVDs. It's like I think it was the cheapest is free, general thing you get on those kind of offers. But it wasn't
Yeah,
a case of like, oh, it's either two DVDs or two games. Like, no, the two were considered comparable and
yeah,
interchangeable to a degree. But yeah,
yeah. No,
box sets easily spent £100 on a series of Farscape.
mm. I mean, I remember this would have been early 2001. The most expensive one I can specifically remember was Series 2 of The X-Files, and that was £90 on DVD, and I paid that. And that was the normal price for it. That wasn't like somebody ripped me off there. That was a standard price. Nowadays, you can get the entire box set, I think including the films maybe and the event series as well, on Blu-ray, which is sort of a premium product. I mean, it's the biggest version you can get of the X-Files series. You can't get it on 4K or anything. And that you can get that for like less than £90. I think I've seen it going sort of second hand, but on Amazon for like 45 or something. You wouldn't expect to pay a lot of money for that. But I guess we've got streaming as well to compete with as well. And a lot of people would just say bollocks to that. There's better competition out there than paying 90 quid for a box. I'll just stream it on Amazon for free. Whereas back then you couldn't do that.
Yeah, that was like a pipe dream at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, the concept of just being able to get like a full series like from somewhere like that would just not really have been a thing back then. Like the concept of like, oh, I'm gonna go like, get that from somewhere. I mean, video shops, no chance.
Yeah. I mean, just getting to own these series, or even watch them at all, even in the late '90s, was in some cases very difficult. It's like if you didn't catch this when it aired, you weren't getting to see it again. I mean, obviously, you saw that in the '60s with the old Doctor Who and stuff, where to the point where even the people that made them don't get to watch them again because they are gone. But TV shows, even in the '90s, like I used to record like episodes of the X Files, and that was like gold dust. You until they started.
Somebody who, I mean, I did have my own video player and stuff, and like I could add the facility to do that, but I would consider that as like, yeah, that's like a real fan. Is that somebody that's gone to the effort of like videotaping them off TV so they can keep them,
Yeah, that was me. I mean, grew up in a bit of a dysfunctional household, as you very well know. So I was pretty much available in my room with my video player and my TV to be present to do that because that was my refuge. But yeah, it was hardcore anyway, having been able to tape all these episodes and have a full series that you've recorded off TV. Took a lot of dedication.
Yeah, just from a simple manner of like, storage and like where would you put all this stuff and like having the like wherewithal to remember each week, like, oh shit, yeah, we've got to start recording.
Yeah. Well, I used to struggle just having tapes because, like I say, it was that hard up sometimes because my mother spent all the family's money on cigarettes. There wasn't a lot of money going around to buy things like videotapes and so on, and I didn't really get pocket money or anything like that. I used to have to keep my dinner money and not buy dinner with it. And my mother obviously didn't know I did that to save money. That's where I got my money from. And from that, I would buy things like videotapes so I could record things off TV. So, where obviously this leading into the conversation that we're having about DVDs and so on, how valuable they were. When all that came out, it was like end of an era. It's like I don't have to rely on doing that anymore.
I mean, you could own series on videotape, but it was expensive. They took up a ton of space.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to have, God knows why I even bothered with this, but I used to watch like Xena Warrior Princess.
Yeah.
And that used to take up a fuck ton of space, did that.
Even Turf wouldn't steal your Xena tape. He stole the DVD.
By that point, they were worth essentially nothing. So
yeah, paperweights practically, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, they'd release maybe 2 or 3 episodes of a show that was like 45 minutes long per episode, and you'd be paying about £15, I think, sometimes for one tape with 3 episodes on.
On DVD with Farscape, because I've still got a lot of the box sets. You'd be looking at maybe 2-3 episodes a disc, and there'd be 2 like things with it. So you'd be looking at 5 to 6 episodes tops, and you will be paying 20 quid for that.
Yeah.
Easy. Even 30 quid, I think, when they first started doing them. They were pretty pricey.
One that was bonkers, I remember this, and it was basically, oh God, I tried to deny this, but I can't really. I bought a tape one time, and it was an Ace Ventura cartoon. It was a Christmas special, 20-minute long cartoon. That's all you got on the tape, and it was like nearly a tenner. And I bought that. I was like 15 or something at the time, and yeah, I got it. I remember getting it from Leeds, and it's like that's just insane. That would be like an extra feature on a DVD now that you pay like $4.99 for or something, and that would
Yeah.
come as like an extra feature on it. In fact, it does. That cartoon comes as an extra feature on the Ace Ventura film Blu-ray, and it even has it's been converted from tape because it's even got the old like Warner Brothers like cartoon like intro and so on. So yeah, it just shows like how things have changed. So nowadays we're getting a lot more bang for our buck, I suppose. All total jokes aside, for £25 getting a 4K film, you're getting a hell of a lot more in terms of quality than you were for £25 20 years ago, and that's without even taking inflation into it. All fast show
Yeah, I
jokes.
mean, then again, like when we're back there paying like what 20-25 quid for a DVD, film, you got to remember, like, in some
It is,
ways, yeah, that money was worth more back then.
yeah. And we didn't know any better. We thought that was really good quality. I remember used to
Yeah,
get DVD magazines, like DVD Monthly or whatever, and it'd show like it focus on like how the better quality can show you things like not bloopers, but like gaffs or whatever you call it. Like when somebody makes a mistake in a
yeah,
film, and you can like maybe see the boom mic or something. Or I seem to remember there's a bit in Scream 2 where Sarah Michelle Gellar gets thrown off a balcony. You can actually see like a safety guy sort of like crouching down, like just to be on standby in case she like falls off and hurts herself in some other way or whatever. And on like because the DVD is so crystal clear, you can actually see that person, whereas on tape you couldn't. It's
I know.
like at the
Sorry, go on.
time, yeah, at the time we thought like, well, DVD is like that's as good as it gets. That's just like you see every single bit of detail. Whereas now it's like DVD is like the worst.
Although to be fair, video to DVD was like a massive leap. In a lot of ways, like DVD to Blu-ray is not as massive a leap. It's a leap, but it's not as obvious a leap as the
Yeah,
video into like Blu-ray was. Video into DVD was.
yeah. Well, my argument to support that as well, what you're saying is when you had an old CRT TV, that's your big square blocky TV. It doesn't matter how big the TV was as well. You could have a small one. When you went from tape to DVD, you could absolutely fundamentally tell the difference. It was night and day. Whereas with DVD to Blu-ray, you really need a bigger TV to be able to tell the difference. Because
Yeah,
when I first moved over, I think it was like a 32-inch TV and I was quite a distance away from it. I struggled watching Blu-rays and thinking, how is this any different than a DVD? You didn't need a massive TV to tell the difference between tape, and I know you can get into the technical aspect of it, but perception wise, yeah, I just felt the leap to DVD from tape was the biggest I've ever noticed.
I mean, certainly when you're just like the average Joe plonking his ass down on the sofa and watching something, the technical like aspects of it aren't going to bloody matter to you. It's like, right, how does it look like when I'm looking at it?
Yeah. Well, it's like my one of my 4K TVs that I got. You have to really, because it has like clouding issues with like the backlight. You have to have like what's I can't remember what it's called now, but an ambient light in the background because it doesn't take the problem away. It's the perception of it, and obviously that's really what it comes down to. Because at the end of the day, it's you're not looking at numbers on a screen. It's what does it look like? How does it feel? Is the picture warmer? Is it more colourful? Even with 4Ks, it's like if you don't really play about with your settings, you might struggle to tell the difference between a standard Blu-ray and a 4K disc.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah. But yeah, price wise, anyway, like I say, it was just absolutely bonkers looking back at how much we paid for what we consider now to be, stuff you can't even give away DVDs, So
I mean, now
I
if you ask me to pay like more than like what 10 quid maybe for a new DVD, I'll be a bit.
it'd have to be a rare one. I mean, there are some. There's Do you remember? Well, you'll remember this. We reference it quite a bit. Called Time Stalkers. It was, I think, it's not even a prop film. It was a TV movie. I think. You remember it?
Vaguely.
You remember it was where a guy goes back in time and he's obsessed with the Wild West, and his like kid gets killed at the beginning of the film.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the basics of it. I just don't remember any like specifics. But yeah.
Well, I've been contemplating buying that, and that's about £17 on DVD because it's a rare one to get, and it's like imported. But the only reason I haven't bought it is because I don't know whether or not it's going to have like forced subtitles on it. I've been trying to figure that out. It's a bit of a risk, and if it does, you just can't get rid of like foreign subtitles. That's annoying as hell. But that's an example.
Stuff like Amazon's not always the most help with that.
Yeah, sometimes
because they're like, oh yes, this is the review for the product you're looking at, and it's like, well, this is obviously not the product I'm looking at. This is the product as in the film, but not the actual, edition of the DVD. So this doesn't actually tell me if this has extra features or if this is this version or that version. You can never be 100% fucking sure.
I'm just trying to see. I bought a film recently called The Explorers. I can't find. I've just been moving my shelves around recently, but that was one I paid about a tenner for. No, I think it was a bit cheaper than that actually, but it was around that price. I think I managed to get it a bit cheaper. But again, that's a rare DVD, and it was imported. But luckily, it didn't have like enforced subtitles on there. So yeah. Anyway, I think we'll wrap this up because I've been talking for quite a bit. So obviously, we're in the new recording room. Well, it's the same room to be honest, but I've just done a reshuffle around, so a different background for me. You've got no background because you've got blue tack on your webcam. So did Topher attack?
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Literally. But yeah. So if anyone asks, Topher has been on your webcam. So
yep, there you go.
And it's coming back to like, oh yeah, so yeah, there's no screen there because Topher has jizzed
There's been an interruption in transmission, which can mean only one thing: a prelude to invasion.
Cora's been jerking off to fake nudes of Cat Dealey.
That's also a possibility.
Anyway, so yeah, on that note, in fact, would you need fake nudes of her? Because wasn't the pictures of her on that fappening incident a few years ago? I never saw them, but I heard of them. I think my sister was telling me about it.
To be fair, I've not gone through the fappening to such a degree that I could tell you which people were actually affected by it. And that's not me like taking some moral high ground. That's just there were that many people that got caught out with that.
Well, I think to be fair,
to be a scholar.
Well, you were very moral about it at the time. You said, on one hand, it's a disgusting invasion of privacy, and on the other hand, well, that hand was busy.
Hand is busy.
Exactly. So
he's a sick bastard, is that Cope?
Anyway, so on that note, we hope you've enjoyed this, and we hope we haven't offended any sensitive people with this kind of talk. But in fact, no, we hope we did. Thank you very much for watching. I don't know how to stop recording, but here we go. It's still actually recording. Let's just have a look. There we go. Thank you very much.